All right, so we got this here. I'll go ahead and get it running. That way you can get warmed up. So we're gonna go ahead and get some done today. We gotta leave and go to a doctor's appointment. Oh. It's been a while since we sat in this thing. I know it needs some def. Wonderful def. So this one thing about mulching, you freaking got spiders everywhere. Look at that. Let it warm up a little bit. I know it's full because I filled it up, but maybe because we're sitting somewhere. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and let this warm up and the grapples all together, so that way we can get everything off at one time. So we'll see how this goes. so less than an hour, and it was super dusty, as you can see on the video. Very powdery. So within an hour, I had this much pushed. Now you can see how much. Got all that. Got all this. The best thing to do is come in and push a little area. That way you can turn around. You can see the material, which good thing it's kind of warm, so you can kind of see the dust kind of packing in with the mulch. Less than an hour, I had this, which this is where me and Chris, which you can see where they pushed, we pushed the pile up, but as well as they cut the trees for the power lines. They just piled on top of where ours was. So there's that stump. I can't see because of the dirt, but here's a big old stump. I'm trying to watch out for it, but as well as mulch it down a little at a time. So my plan is to come around this best I can, mulch everything up, and then re-sift all this stuff up and then mulch it in and make it look decent. So it's really dusty over there. There's really no water over there, but this is where the low point's at. See, it's kind of sticky, and this over here's like powder. But anyway, so it's low right here. This is where you can see right here is a little creek, and then there's one there. That's where it's washed out. So it went around this tree, and it's washed up around this edge along where their conduit's at. So my plan is to cut it straight down through here. So it shouldn't take me long, but I gotta break up all this stuff, and then I'm gonna remulch everything up. So my plan is I gotta leave the next few hours. So my plan is to get all the mulching done, and then maybe start with the excavator and sift everything to one little area, clean it up, mulch it up, and then I should be done with the excavator. So I wish that stump was right there, because I could make it go right in through here. But this is a low spot anyway, so we should be good. But you gotta start at your high point, work your way down. So I may grab the excavator and pull this back so that way I don't sling it in their yard. I'd rather sling it down on this side. But I'd like to at least keep these logs right here, just cut everything up and then just throw it to the side. That way we'll have a big pile here. Take all the little tree limbs, all the little small stuff. That's why I'm gonna try to mulch some of the butt ends of everything, kind of clean it up a little better. Got to get that out of the way. So my plan is to mulch everything, all the little underbrush, and then throw everything up higher on this side, keep it away from the house. And I'll tell you one thing, if you throw everything down, not in a massive pile like that, because it's hard to mulch at, because you're gonna have chunks like this and like that underneath. So if you'll sift it, mulch it, and then re-sift everything down again, it takes a little bit more time, but it's well worth it. It just goes a lot faster. So you can see what I've done in an hour, just ripping everything down. Alright, so we're back here today to finish this up. Nice and chilly this morning, so I'm going to get the machines warming up. We still got all this little small brush. I'm going to go ahead and get all this stuff cleaned up. That way I can come back in and blade some of this. And then get all that back there piled up where it should be. So that's probably what I'm going to do first. That way I can get all that pushed. Take this, I've already got it chopped up. Throw it on the pile, kind of clean these piles up, and got to get this right here. So my plan is to get everything cut up and throw in a pile. So that's what we got. There's a few trees over there, big pine, it's leaning. But after we get everything cleaned up and spiffied up a little bit, we can take the grapple and kind of come in and take the grapple and just start kind of blading a little bit, using the tines to grapple some of this nasty leftover stuff. But I got everything cut and I got over there and the chain popped off this pile of freaking crap. Alright, so what I did was cut that tree up to some decent sections of logs and stuff like that, and then through the brush, which I mulched that back to that bigger pile that me and Chris pushed back here when we cleaned up a lot of trees back here. But there's a bunch of brush in their burn pile right on top of that, so they'll burn it, and then they'll have something for when it dries out, which I'm going to tell them to let it dry out, and that way they can roast marshmallows with their kids and stuff like that. So we got all that cleaned up pretty good bit, and then now we just got to clean around the tree there, mulch. There's a little bit more logs, but mulch around that tree, start mulching all this other stuff once I blade and clean up just a little bit more on that other side. Got to be careful here because there's septic lines, I think, right in here. But we're going to mulch everything up, but mostly is excavate everything, blade everything, and then I don't want to do nothing with the dirt just yet, so that way I can put it in the places where it's rutted out, so we can get cooking on it. So we'll drop these logs right here, that way it'll be out of the way, it's not in the yard, and they don't have to pick them up, hurt themselves, and it'll be right over there, and they can just kind of you know, cut it up when they need it to do a little bit of s'mores night. All right, so it's fixing to get dusty. Got me some piles, and then the mulch will help me somewhat level this out. I've tried to blade it, but it's so powdery, it's just rolling out the sides. But those knives are just about shot, but I can still sharpen them, so I'm gonna come in and just kind of hit them. Kind of see it's a little lumpy, but the pond, I'm thinking it runs down through here, because you can kind of see it swells down through here. So I think the overflow is either this, I think it's this side, because you see the low spot over here. But I think what it does, it rolls down through all these trees, and it rolls down through here because it stays, this is where it stays wet. So now I've got a start of a trench, think about trenching it over here, and then even if it comes over here, I can trench it around. But I want to make it to where they can at least get in with their lawnmower and kind of keep this pushed back. So that's my plan. So I'm just going to come in here and mulch, knock all this stuff down, all the brush, got all the trees cleaned up over there, and hit that, and come over here and hit that. It's about to be dusty, but it's a little damp right here, so it shouldn't be as bad, but it's not going to be as bad as over here, there, this side. So I got to mulch all this, and all the stumps that are left right there where the power line people cut, well, they're right over there with their big old skidder. You can see it just a little bit right there. Big old skidder with a Fecon mulcher on it. Wish they was over here mulching, but they're going to grind down the stumps that's under the power line. And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 or 6. But all I got to do is mulch this and all this other little small brush, and then kind of clean up everything, then start my trench, and then clean up the other side next to my truck, so that my truck's there. that thing up now. Just trying to hit it from every angle I can to break it loose. Coming on pretty good. Get it going. Don't want to go. Probably about the best I'm gonna be able to get it. It's just so chunky underneath. At least it'll knock some of the dirt off. It'll probably help burn. As long as it can get started, it should go pretty good. Blade out a little bit. I was trying to push all the dirt up there, and then that way I can back drag it, kind of smooth it out. I just have to go over here. Push it up here. That way it'll fill itself up a little better. Alright, so we're narrowing down the last bit. It's already lunchtime. I'm trying to get it pushed to be done. A bit of briars here. Ouch. So we're fixing to mulch real quick. So gotta get that up, put some fuel in it, and then get that going. So all we lack, which I moved some of them dirt piles, kind of bladed it a little bit. So me and the customer, there's a rock. This ain't no dozer, but you can do a little bit. It's hard to when it's all lumpy, and it just don't work like a dozer would. But anyway, we're going to take, while this is dipped right here, I'm gonna go up to about right in here, just barely blade it, and then take, because it kind of goes downhill that way, and just kind of enough to start the water erosion issue, because we don't want to go too deep, and then next thing you know we have a creek over here. So that's our plan. And then I'm gonna come down through here, mulch all that stuff up, and I gotta go next to the truck over here. Now you can kind of see it. Get a little bit of patches here and there, hit those stumps, and then throw dirt on the rest of it, and then hit all these little crumbly pieces right here. And then I gotta get a few more things of dirt right over there, and then mulch a few things over there and then over there. So Still got a bunch of things. Might be another hour and a half, but no big deal. But we're gonna go ahead and get it done. So kind of get that done and be done with it. So we should be just about finished. That little pile is probably gonna take the longest over there, so it's just gonna be dusty over here. And then we got to get a few chunks here and there. Should be good. But I guess we'll get to it. It's nice and toasty. So for the customers, they had some trees. I think the tops broke out of them, which a lot of these tops broke out, which I ripped up. Put a bunch of the tops and cut them out. And then I got the stumps. There's 2 stumps there, and I got a stump right there. And then I had one next to the house that it was about maybe probably about 3 foot tall. So I came over here and mulched all this best I could. The power company actually came by yesterday, and they're going to grind all these stumps down because they're under the power lines. These are the ones they cut anyway. And I mulched this one up right here, which was about that size. Gotta get that. So now all I gotta do is go over there, throw those on top of there, cut them in half, which they're about sawdust anyway. I gotta get this piece, and I'm gonna blade some of this. And then here's the trench here, and it wires off, which I've done filled up a bunch of it. And I need to go over and excavate some of the little chunks. It's just so dry, it's not even funny. We'll grapple those with the thumb. We'll have to do a little bit of raking, but it shouldn't take much. And then we're gonna go ahead, get some of these chunks right here, throw them on top. That way they'll whittle down into the small spaces, which I went over this 4 or 5 times. There's still chunks, but well, maybe when they come in tomorrow with their machines, they'll dig some up. So I'm gonna take some of that and fill some of this corner over here. So I'm gonna blade all this in, and then I'm gonna cut the trail. So once I get on that top side, and it'll shoot down through here, and then it'll whittle into this right here. So all down through here, you can kind of see where the terrain's at. So it's a good deal. So I took most of the dirt on that side, filled it in places it needs, and then I'm gonna take that and then fill in where else I need to go. What is it? All right, let's go ahead and get to it, which I mulched. Me and Jeff was looking at it. But he's like, yep, that's not coming out. So I mulched everything I could. I'm gonna blade everything off around it and then pile dirt on top a good bit, so that way when it settles, it'll settle. All right, this is literally the last bit. Once I restack the piles and then sift everything around, it'll be time to go. Got a little bit of chunks here and there, but we'll pick those up. And then I got where it's rutted out through here. A few little chunks. It's hard to see when it's dusty. But yeah, so I'm gonna come in, because what happens is it's washing down through here, which there was a big trench right in here, which I bladed a lot of it, and also mulched a lot of the hillsides and the brush. So hey, so it was running down through here, and then it was going down that way. So that's where their conduit is, and their septic tank stuff's over there. And then it was washing this whole corner off right here. So it was like a crater, like it was probably knee deep. So I'm gonna take some of this, I'm gonna blade all this down, and that way this will be nice and smooth, but when I cut, it'll stay on the top side. Run down this little trench right here and then go around. That way they'll have more use for the yard. Well, no, never mind. We're gonna go this way. And since this is up high, we'll run it down that way, but I'm not doing a massive trench, just enough that's noticeable. That way when the water starts coming in, it'll be perfect for the water to be going down through there, so that way it don't wash completely out. It'll give a few years for it to completely wash. But yeah, that's what we got. Let's go ahead and get going. All right, get everything pushed. Since everything's a water bowl, or used to be, now since it's able to dry out, we got a trench right down in here. which full of mulch and stuff like that. Once it decomposes, it'll be all right. Bugs flying everywhere, so I trenched it out a little bit. My 3 foot, didn't want to do too much. The edge will leave enough to where when it starts flowing, it won't go too much. Just enough. And it's still so wavy, it's just powder. Still chunks everywhere. It's so powdery, it's not wanting to stay on top. I'll just have to come back later on and see. It's just so powdery. Once that water starts coming through, it'll really wash a trail. I try to stay on the fence because this is the lowest, but I'm trying to show you what I mean. Just took the bucket and just bladed out. It'll find a low spot. It's hard to do stuff when it's super powdery. You got a few sticks to pick up, but ain't no big deal. My plan was to smooth it out, but when I smoothed it out, it just fell apart on the mounds of it, so it made more of a mess. But it's about all I could do since everything's powder and for the way the layout. But it's just gonna have to get a little bit of rain to have everything packed down, so that way it'll settle. I'm gonna be mulching tomorrow because I'm not happy with the finish down there with the excavator. It's really chunky. All right, so we're back. GoPro's about dead as usual. I'm gonna go ahead and get that running. I'm gonna move that. It kind of looks a little rough. I'm gonna go over here and mulch a bunch of this right here to make it look a little better. And I'm gonna go on that back side, on this side right here too. I'm gonna move that gate real quick. There's a T-post and a tub. So I'm gonna try to get in there and kind of clean it up a little bit better. I'm gonna take that post out, get close, clean it up, make it a little easier for them. Well, I was gonna try to record that, but glad I didn't, because it was nothing but a dirt show. So all I did was just being extra for my customers was going back and chewing up all this other stuff and stirring up dust all over the house. But I went over there and you can see the difference. It looks really good. There's Walker. All right, so just come back through and just chopped everything. It looks 10 times better. Oh yeah, this is where water ran through as well. But a little bit of raking up and piling up and burning, which I threw that over here so that way he could cut up to firewood, and that way they can roast marshmallows. That is it. So just came back, mulched everything up. I mean, it's chips, dirt mix. It's so powdery it's hard to deal with, but we fix to load we're not going too far anyway. So we'll take this to the house, and I got rid of the excavator. It's just $900 a month plus the insurance and fuel and breakdowns and a bunch of stuff it needed. I'm gonna get a bigger one anyway, so that's my plan. But anyway, we're fixing to head on out and get this unloaded at the house. So if you could like and subscribe, and I got a bunch of videos coming out. I think there's one of them that kind of looks like a duplicate. I accidentally erased it because I didn't pay attention to the video. I just kind of, I was like, oh man, I double done that. So, but I re-uploaded it, and so I got a few more videos to upload, and then we'll get to pushing out more stuff on the trucks. The 450 is getting retired after this one. She's blowing a lot of crankcase. I'd rather go ahead and get it fixed before it gets too bad because of the blocks. So we'll have a video on that, because there's a lot of people that's asked me about my other motor. So I'd like to actually break it down and get into fixing it. So, and that's probably like $8 grand right there. So it's always something. The brush cutter done really good on this job. I really liked what it done, other than my excavator. I love the cats, just in general, because they're closer to me. But anyway, we're going to get something bigger, probably like a 18, 20-ish, like a 75G or a KX80, who knows, just whenever I can maybe demo or try out. I did try out a 75G, they're pretty slick. So anyway, I appreciate all the subscribers, all the likes, and it's making me feel a little bit better about things. So just hang in there. It's a little rough here, so that's what I'm trying to do. But anyway, we'll have some videos on the other stuff at the house, do some fixing and some redoing. So see you on the next one.